Cynthia Brooks Nickerson. Welcome back to Urban Wellness Now. You know, this show is about both health, wellness, medical, whatever you want to call it, and wealth in the Black community. The two are linked. As my guest will definitely explain. I'm proud to welcome Nicole Rocher with Rocher Solutions. She educates folks from going from not knowing to knowing, and we really need that these days because there's so much that we don't know. Information comes at us a mile a minute, and it's a lot out there. So in terms of life insurance, there's many different aspects of it. Talk about family planning and when you become a parent, and how life insurance can help that child and the family out in the years to come.
Absolutely. Well, you know, the state requires us to have insurance on our automobiles. It's a requirement. It's the law for us to have that. And, you know, and I feel personally that once a child is born or before the child gets here, the parents should already have life insurance in place and be prepared to have a will, but that's a whole different story. But the life insurance, because you just don't know. You just don't know.
Things happen.
Things happen in an instant, and, you know, I watch the news with a totally different eye because of the work that I do. I always think about the children. You know, did the parents have life insurance? What's going to happen to the family? What's going to happen to the home? And so it's really important to have that life insurance. It's also important to insure your children. People think, oh, why would you put life insurance on a child? Well, there's so many great reasons. First of all, you have what's called compound interest at hand, which just builds wealth for the child, tax-free. And if you start as young as 14 days old is the earliest you can write a policy with most carriers, for as little as $25 a month. You can build on that over time, and there's a way to design that. But the main thing is you're insuring the child's insurability, meaning they are the youngest and healthiest they're going to be. If a child is born, for instance, we have a lot of autism in our communities these days. Well, children are not diagnosed with autism until they're 18 months on the young end. Really around 2 years old is when those diagnoses started coming into play. So if you have your child insured already at 14 days, then it doesn't matter because it's not going to be an issue because you've already secured their insurance and a financial future that is available to them with living benefits.
So that means if the child, when you say insurability, after diagnosis, people start thinking about those things, and then it becomes more difficult?
The underwriting is different for the policy. Okay. So, for instance, I have a colleague of mine and a dear friend whose daughter had epilepsy, an epileptic seizure when she was 9. So she goes all the way to age 9, and she has this seizure out of the blue. Nobody knows their child is going to have a seizure, and now she has epilepsy, and she is not insurable. So she's a young adult now. She's 19, I think, now in college. And she's got, if she had been able to secure that as a baby, then she would have even the living benefits available to her later in life if she needed to tap into those benefits from the death benefit.
Very good point.
It's really, really major for the young people to, it's like a no-brainer. So I have a lot of clients now that instead of purchasing things for the children, they've been educated on how to create wealth for the children, and so they do annual contributions into a policy from grandparents and godparents and everything, and they're like, we don't need.
That's excellent for maybe a baby shower, birthdays.
Oh yeah,
you're right. We don't need more stuff.
We don't. You don't need all that stuff, right? So that's something that when I educate people for them, then they think about all the children, all the people in their family that can have a policy.
And so that policy goes with them, like you said, college, but it can be used once they're 18 for other things too?
Yes. So for college planning, it's really awesome. It is exciting, okay, because really we can fund it from 14 days old. You can fund that policy until you can pay it until they're like 16 and then stop, right? You don't have to do anything else. You just let it roll, right, until they're 65 and tap into it, or until they are working, like my children. I have them set up, so now I paid for their insurance, their Index Universal Life policy, and then Now my son, he's been educated, so now he understands how that works. So he puts money in. That's where he puts his savings, from his work.
Okay.
So he's now building his own policy as well. But for young children going to college, it's first of all, it's tax free. It is not detectable by FAFSA, so you do not have to report that like you would a Roth IRA or a 529. So it's not considered for scholarship or financial aid. So that's major if you have gone that route and you know what that looks like. So to have that money in that account, and access to it is great, because it does not impede other financial support for college. There are communities that have quinceañeras and bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, and they have IULs. I tell you, they have an IUL. That's where a lot of that funding comes from. They start start with a baby, and you look up, how do you think all that money comes into play for those extravagant events? So other communities are well aware of how insurance plays out for children and for families. And you also, so that's really the key thing, is you're ensuring their insurability.
Yeah.
That's what I want people to walk away with. And absolutely building wealth. I mean, really building wealth.
That's beautiful. So by the time they're 18 or whatever, they can fund either college or other things that they'd like to do.
There are a couple of strategies around that. One of the things that I like to say about the life insurance IUL for a student, it's specifically that product, is that if a child decides they're not going to university, and they have a 529, well, that money is held as hostage. Yeah, so if your child decides they want to go and do mission work or become an artist, or their culinary or something different, that they music, there's money in place for them that they can use to do that with. It takes them in a different direction. And then, they also, you may want to just leave it in place until after college, and then, take the student loans and let that money continue to grow until later, and then start pulling from it or contributing to it. So it's got a lot of different ways we can design it, a lot of different ways you can utilize it for college planning. But but the key thing is insurability.
Right.
Get those kids insured, and the parents have to have a policy in place on themselves in order to get that. So they can't just have the parent has to have insurance as well.
All right. Well, you are the educator on all of this, so we certainly appreciate you being here. And of course, we have Nicole with Rocher Solutions information on our website, urbanwellnessnow.com, and you can get whatever information you need to know about how to meet Nicole and get what you need. Keeping track of your financial commitments can get confusing and overwhelming if you're not organized. And if you're like me, sometimes organization can get, well, let's just say a little tricky. So here's a solution. The Bill Tracker Bundle. It's a printable 8-page PDF with pages for your bill due dates, payment tracker, and subscription trackers. Just download, make copies for multiple months, and start using to keep you financially organized. You can get it free for a limited time on urbanwellnessnow.com. Get yours today, and don't forget to tell a friend. We all need a little help now and then. Thanks so much for joining Urban Wellness Now. Please visit us on social media, including YouTube, and go to urbanwellnessnow.com for more information on the topics discussed on this show and additional resources for your health and wealth. And send me comments about the show. I'm Cynthia Brooks Nickerson. See you next time.